Every man wants a real woman until that real woman requires him to step up and be a real man. Every man wants a good woman until that woman requires him to level up, drop his baggage, deal with the old ways of thinking and all the stuff he got away with other women. Every man wants that type of woman until she requires those things of him. Every man wants a woman that can manage her emotions and has all of this emotional intelligence until that woman with emotional intelligence says, you know what? You now have to manage your pride. You now have to manage your ego. You now need to get self-aware about some of those narcissistic traits because I'm not dealing with that. The reason why I bring this up is because I really want to know something. For men who are watching this, can you handle the type of woman you say you want? There's so many men who idealize the type of woman that's for them. Ladies, y'all put I down in the chat if you've ever had a guy who described these character traits of a woman that they want in their life. You know, good and well, you're that type of woman. But when it came down to it, he really didn't appreciate you. He couldn't handle you. He didn't know what to do with you. Put I down in the chat if you've ever dealt with that. A man that will call you wifey, acknowledge that you are wife material. But when it's time to put up husband material, he got nothing to offer. Put I down in the chat if you can relate. I was talking to one of my Self-Crown VIP members recently. This is where this whole conversation comes from. And she was struggling to continue pouring into the relationship. And she just was beating herself up. And a lot of y'all have this. You beat yourself up. You feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough. Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe I need to find more energy, more capacity. I'm losing my motivation, my mojo. It just seems like I was so ready and motivated to come in and be this type of woman, but it's not working out. I'm not actually being that. But after really assessing the situation, I said, sis, you're trying to be everything for a man who's being nothing to you. And I'm not bashing. I'm going to keep it real. This is what happens. I'm going to tell you all what a disconnect typically happens. You have people who say, let's go with men here, because it starts with us. We're the leaders, right? Cool. I'm this type of man. Like, what kind of man? I'm the type of man that is a good leader, and I'm nice, and I'm humorous, and I got a big bank account, I got a big whatever down there. I'm this type of man. And this is where we get it confused. It's not about who you think you are or how you've shown up in life before this. It's about how you can show up in a relationship that determines the type of woman that you can truly handle. Because when a man thinks of who he is, he's really including how he's been in his favorite parts of his life for everybody. It's like, it's really general. You know, this includes who he was to his homeboy back in the day, his mama, his goldfish, his gerbil, his kids maybe, his coworkers, his classmates, his football teammates, basketball teammates. That's what happens when a man, you ask a man, what kind of man are you? He'll describe the kind of man he is, but that's completely different than how he shows up. And how he shows up is going to tell you whether or not he deserves the type of woman that he says that he wants. This is why you have a lot of guys who say, I want this type of woman, but their attention still goes to something else. Their value still goes to something else. Their actions say they could care less whether or not that woman stays or leaves, or whether or not that woman is just deteriorating before their very eyes. They don't know how to. So you'll have guys, I want a submissive woman. They'll say stuff like that, but it's like, all right, are you the type of man that can create an environment where that woman wants to submit? Submission shouldn't be anything you have to ask for, by the way. It's kind of like respect. You earn respect. You don't demand respect, right? So you'll have men who say, I want a woman that can submit. Are you the type of man that a woman feels safe submitting to? I want a woman that will follow my lead. Are you the type of man that's already leading a life where that woman knows you ain't leading her into a crash course? Are you the type of man that's not making emotionally impulsive decisions based on ego and desire for validation from others, especially with the finances, to where that woman knows that, hey, she can drop everything she got going on financially to now follow whatever plan that you got for your life? Or does she see you gambling on the basketball playoffs and, you know, spending at a strip club and, you know, spending all your money on weed and 2K and, you know, video games and stuff like that? Like, that woman ain't following your lead, man. You want a woman that can follow your lead, but you want a woman that also ignores where the hell you got her going? Make it make sense. One of my favorites, men who's like, oh, I want a woman that can cook. I love a woman that can cook. Are you the type of man that loves to bring home groceries? I remember I said that a couple of years ago. Man, I caught so much flack. But the truth is, like, are you the type of man? Like, this is really just kind of a gut check. It's not bashing. It's literally a question. Ask yourself this. Ask yourself this. But if you love a woman that cooks, you also got to be a man that loves to see when your woman is exhausted from cooking, from taking care of everybody else, and loves to step in. You got to be the man that loves to say, baby, I see you working, you're going to school, whatever you got going on professionally to achieve them goals. You're making sure the kids is up with their teeth brushed and their hair combed and their skin moisturized and their snacks packed and out of the school on time. And you make sure when they get home from school that they're doing their homework, and you make sure you answer a million questions they got going on, and then you getting the food cooked. Baby, let me take some of that off of you. If you love a woman that cooks you and takes care of the home, you also got to be the man that loves to do things like that. That sees whenever she's exhausted, sees whenever she's stretched thin, and loves to step in and say, as your protector, I'm also going to protect you from exhaustion. You want a woman that's so soft and so feminine. You got to be a man that loves to be in this masculine energy. That don't mean 100% never ever being able to tap into your feminine in order to have healthy relationships, because there's always a balance. But if you want a woman that's feminine, she can never feel like she has to be the masculine energy because you're not doing a good enough job. That's the type of man that deserves and works with and compliments a truly feminine, soft, submissive woman. You want a woman that's so sexual. Are you the type of man that loves to meet a woman's emotional needs? Being that women are more emotionally wired than we are to our sexual organs? Are you the type of man that loves to meet that woman's emotional needs days, weeks prior to even asking her for sex? Are you that type of man? Or are you the type of man that the moment that his D gets hard, he just wants to go ahead, get it popping, and use that woman as lubricant for masturbation? Because that's all that you're really doing if you're not taking care of that woman's emotional needs so that she can get her needs met as well. So are you really the type of man? Are you really that type of man that deserves the type of woman that you say you want? Are you really the type of man that values the type of woman that you say you want? Or are you still addicted to everything else, the Instagram baddies, the strippers, or whatever? Are you still addicted to something else because that's what you're familiar with? When you want that emotionally intelligent woman and you get angry because you got triggers that you never truly acknowledged because you've gotten so good at suppressing and just functioning and being successful, and nobody really checked on you as a man, as a human being, because of how successful you are and because of how much you contributed to their lives. But now you with a woman that can see when you're not okay, or that's willing to hold you accountable if you start blurring any type of lines, start messing with her boundaries. Are you the type of man that can deal with that emotionally intelligent woman and also practice emotional intelligence by communicating and articulating what's wrong, communicating and articulating whenever you're wrong, when it's time for you to apologize, whenever, yeah, you got all of this money to spend and everybody else can use you for your money, but that ain't what she there for? Can you handle the type of woman that you say that you deserve, that you're looking for? Otherwise, you're just out here chatting. You just out here chatting and you holding up the line. If you with a woman that you cannot handle, you get in the way of her blessing for a man who can. The only reason why I talk the way that I talk is because there are great men out here. They're not just great. There are evolved men out here who not only want a particular type of woman, but they can help evolve her, level her up. They can compliment her. They can lead her, if that's what she's looking for, to different levels and versions of herself she never even knew she was capable of. There's a reason I'm really advocating on behalf of that type of man whenever I speak on the others. And it's really a call to those others to come up to their true design as the kings that they were called to be. And so hopefully nobody's seeing this as bashing. If you do, that's a personal insecurity. Can't do nothing about that. But the type of women that you say that you want deserves better than what a lot of us are bringing to the table. Let's keep it all the way real. We love asking a woman what she's bringing to the table. But we the first one setting the table with paper plates and Vienna sausages and bologna and come on, man. And I'm talking about in terms of how you prepared yourself to love that woman properly. And this is why a lot of my conversation is not so much towards men, because sometimes our ego gets in the way of wisdom. But instead, a lot of times we're talking to the sisters and letting y'all know, like, instead of trying to grow this man up and do this and that and the other to coach this man up into the type of man he should have came into the relationship as, it's much better that you just position yourself for an evolved man. Don't be no man's training ground. Don't be no man's basic training. Don't be no man's preparation. Don't be no man's waiting room, lobby, or any of that stuff. You're not his incubator to be the type of man he's supposed to come in as. That was his mama's job. If anything, what you need to do is position yourself for evolved men to not only find you, but to come looking for you, to pursue you, to crave you. And there are definitive ways that actually work to make that happen. Now, if you don't know what that is, I'm not going to go in depth here because I already did a whole masterclass for over an hour, dropping gems on how to make evolved men crave you. If you missed that masterclass when I did it, don't miss it this time because it's coming down soon. That link that you see pinned right here, if you haven't gotten access to that masterclass, click that link, register now before it comes down, before registration shuts down at the 150 people limit. Click that link. It's free and get access to secrets to making evolved men crave you. So you can stop the pattern of dealing with men and entertaining men who need you to grow them up and coach them up. And no, we're not doing that no more. It's 2023. We're not doing that no more. But back to what I was saying. Fellas, and this goes both ways, by the way. But what I see is a lot of women who have been groomed for and preparing for the position of a wife long before, they even got of relationship age. But for a lot of us men, we weren't really in the same preparation by society or even our families. So a lot of times we're behind the 8 ball. We say we want this, that, and the other, but we really can't step up to the plate when it comes down to it. We look good, we're a good catch, but we're not really a good keep. We high value man, but we got low value character. So check yourself. Can you really handle and truly cultivate the best out of a woman that you say that you want? And that ain't based on who you have been to everybody else. How do you show up in that relationship? And is who you show up as in that relationship really aligned with who you think you are? And if not, that's what you need to get together before you get together with a woman that you say that you want. But those are just my thoughts. I'm just your internet brother trying to look out. If you got anything valuable from this conversation, go ahead and click that share button so somebody else on your timeline can get blessed. They'll thank you. And you'll thank yourself if you go ahead and click the link pinned right here if you're in the market for an evolved man, because this ain't for everybody. But for those of y'all who want a truly evolved man, mentally, character-wise, in his soul, click that link for free. I went in on how to attract them, how to use the strategies that are already working and see results in the first 24 hours. Again, that link is right here. Also in the caption when you back out.